Okay, so this is the JD-XA. We've only had a couple of days with the beast, just really exploring the analog section, the analog parts more than anything. But the whole purpose of this weekend, as far as the Circuit Symphony are concerned, is to see how this will integrate into our setup. Because not forgetting, it is a prototype as well, and it runs stunning. And it looks gorgeous, especially on stage as well, and in the night. Okay, so not going to get bogged down into all the technical details with everything, or the concept of it, but the simple overview. It's a crossover synthesizer where you've got 4 monophonic analog parts, or they can be stacked to be a 4-note polyphony polysynth. And then you've got your 3 parts digital, but each part, or each digital part, could contain up to 4, I don't know why I said 6, can contain up to 4 digital partials. So yeah, but very much like the Jupiters and the Integras, and as far as I'm concerned, the Integra sound set is compatible obviously with the digital side of this as well, so you can import them from the Integra 7. Need to double check that, but that's what the media is saying all about it. It's gorgeous, I love it. Right, so what I'll do first of all is just quickly show you some of the basic analog patches I've set up. Just using, well, this one is a Moog sort of monophonic flute, I suppose you want to call it. Just using one section of the analog section, pulse width and sine with a bit of filter. It's nothing special, but it's just a raw pure tone. So that little clicking you can hear, I was lazy. Basically, I had the levels down on the oscillators when I was making this patch, so just to be lazy, I've put a total effects on, compressor, and obviously the attack and release is a little bit off. Okay, so that's that. This next one is using almost a very similar setup to the first patch you heard, but this is a poly stack, so it's obviously 4-note polyphonic with a bit of effects as well. So it's pretty cool. And what I obviously love about this is because you're limited to 4 notes. The bite it gives if you're using a sustained note is gorgeous. That's what I like, is because it's running out of polyphony, obviously. It's just authentic, which you don't really see these days on digital synths, to give you a limit for polyphony to get that effect. That's one thing we were trying to do when I was working with Howard Jones, doing some sampling stuff with Robbie Bronneman. The guys there, they sampled their Juno 60s and everything. Stunning, it sounded authentic, but the only thing that was missing was the polyphonic cut-off, more or less. So it'd be good to see that in here, but no problems. Right, okay, so the next one, this is, I call this VP string, so it's no doubt an analog string effort. Only quickly, you know, nothing special, but so that's raw. There's no effects on, there's nothing going on there. It's just the raw oscillators you're hearing and well, the raw analog section of it. Okay, so for this one, I've done my very best attempt to do the Oxygen 2 sort of sequence. Again, just using the analog section, but using the sequencer this time, which it was great fun using that. Unfortunately, at the moment, I don't think you can get anything out of 4 other than 4/4. I think, I don't know, haven't had it long enough yet, so don't quote me on that one. So I'm using this as a 4-part monophonic, 4-part multi-timbral monophonic synthesizer. So section 1, we've got sort of the lead line to... No, we haven't. Tell a lie. Okay, so section 1, we've got the lead line to this sort of sequence I'm going to attempt to do. Okay, so that's just, again, using that sort of mogy flute sound, slightly modified. And then on the second part we have, I think this is a snare. White noise, love it. I absolutely love white noise. And again, the beauty about the JD-XA, which, depending on obviously what synthesizers you go for, normally the white noise, you have to use up an oscillator for white noise. No, you don't. Not on the JD-XA, because this external source can be white noise, pink noise, or the digital part, or the mic coming in. So that's brilliant, because I'm a sucker for white noise. So now I don't have to sort of sacrifice an oscillator just to get my white noise in there as well. I mean, a majority of analog synthesis or synthesizers don't have this issue anyway, but sort of in the virtual analog world, you do. And obviously this is virtual analog as well as real analog, so it's great to see the two worlds crossing as well. Right, so this is the snare, nothing fancy there. That's for my sort of snare sound. The second part, I think, is a progressive sort of going on, and then I think my last part then is a sort of kick. Actually got them both playing together. Brilliant. So when I play this back, and the good thing about the JD-XA, along with the JD-XI as well, is it can be a performance synthesizer as well, because you've got your synthesizer parts, and every part, as far as I'm aware, has its own track on the sequencer section. You can sort of bring in sequences to each individual part on the fly, so you can sort of mute and unmute parts, which is pretty cool. So that's what I'm going to do now. And I think if I press shift, and there we are. So all the flashing parts here are muted at the moment. So what I'll do, I'll play my attempt. So I know it's not right, but it's not correct sequence, but it sounds similar. So we bring in that white noise maybe. Add a bit of reverb to it maybe. Some delay. Okay, so let's just turn that right down a minute. And then we bring in maybe the kick drum. And then maybe the snare. What's great with this is to maybe play on the fly even with just the white noise. Well, let's modulate that, I think. Bring in that percussive part. So you get the idea there. Won't bore you with all that. So even as using this as a 4-part analog drum machine if you wanted to, and then just get all your traditional virtual analog sounds then from the digital part. So you can have an authentic drum machine if you wanted to. So what we love doing with the modular synthesis is get one oscillator to do a snare, to do a kick, and so you can maybe use it as an analog drum machine with the digital part if you wanted to, or the other way around. But so the possibilities are there to satisfy anybody, I think. Okay, so the whole point of this weekend certainly is to see how this would fit into the sort of live setup at the moment. It's ever changing, but we really want to take this out live because it sounds stunning and looks absolutely gorgeous. So what I'll do next then, I'll just show you a couple of patches that I've created just to fit in with the tracks that we're doing. There's only 2 so far, but we've got the technical side done. So this is receiving program changes from Reason, MIDI clock for sequences that I haven't done yet. And we're using this as a MIDI controller as well. But I know there's a dedicated MIDI control button on there. But from a live point of view, the less buttons I've got to press, the better. So what I've done, I've actually, if I go to Bank A1, I've created a patch called, I don't know if you can see that, sort of with the lights, MIDI. That's the name of the patch. And every single part transmits on its own MIDI channel. From what I gather, it does. So what I've done, I've set part 1 on my analog part because that's channel 1. Set it to monophonic, turn all the levels off, everything. So when I press a key, nothing's happening. But it's transmitting on MIDI channel 1. And I just send a program change to this, and it's now my MIDI controller. I'm sure I could do system exclusive to switch between this and that, but I'm lazy. I can't help it. So we've got then a couple of patches here. Our PPG wave sound that we use for New Romantic. It's hard to play while holding the camera stand. That one. And this particular patch I'm using a digital section as well, just for some strings. So the top half is a polyphonic analog sound. And the lower half is just a simple string section to fill up the mix a bit. So pushing down on the aftertouch. Haven't really got into all the modulation sources yet. So the power of the digital section is huge, just like on the Jupiters as well, where you've got 3 partials, or 3 sections, and each section can contain 4 digital parts. So that's huge. That's massive. I mean, even if this bit wasn't about, it's still one hell of a synth. It's something that I've been screaming about because I love the Jupiter 50, but the lack of hands-on control and the nightmare programming the thing. If this didn't even have the analog section, this could be my Jupiter 50 that I've always wanted. So that's another thing to bear in mind. Right, okay, so the next patch is, we're obviously doing our sort of Oracle V's Fade to Grey live as well. This is just a simple string patch. Just the analog part, using some digital section as well. Let's see if I can play this first, is it? And then I'll turn the attack and decay right down, attack and release, so I can do my... which is cool. And what I'll do now, I'll show you those 2 sort of patches in the mix, just so you can see how it fits in. So what I've got then is some program changes I'm relying on in Reason. So let's take New Romantic for a start then. So what I've got is a program change at the beginning. I got a clever little thing that I do with, or lazy little thing that I do with key changes as well later, I'll show you. So, I don't know, we're on this a second. So when I just start my sequencer, I know everybody's seen program changes before, I know that. But there we are. So what I'll do now, I'll set the camera up and I'll just show you so you can hear how this sounds and how it fits in to the mix as well. Right, okay, so here we go. So I'll just change the patch to anything. And what you'll notice is it's all for show. I'll put a couple of program changes in there just before I arrive to the one I want. Just because the front panel, some lights go off, some lights come on, and it looks pretty cool on video. Simple as that. No other reason. So there we go. So I've gone up, down, bang. There we are. Simple as that. So this is how it sounds in the mix. Simple as that. What I've actually done is sampled the Jupiter 50 for this bit. That's the Jupiter 50. This is a Casio. On this end I got the bass. Cool, so that's that. Bit rough around the edges, I know. Okay, so this is Oracle V's Fade to Grey, where I'm using the string section. Ignore the gates at the beginning, that's my desk. I haven't adjusted the gate threshold on there yet. But there's a key change in this. So what I could do is be a proper musician, which I'm not, and play the same notes on a different key scale, or I could manually transpose the keyboard up. I don't do that. That's all I do. Take the same patch, tune it up by 2 cents, 2 semitones or wherever it's going, save it as another patch next in the line, send a program change to it. So that way I don't have to be pressing buttons. I can concentrate on drinking wine live and play music. So this is how that sounded in the set. Program change now, we've gone straight to Fade to Grey strings. Okay, so we should be able to do
Devenir écrit.
Get the idea, yeah? So then we fade to grey. Then there's a key. There's actually a key change coming up as well. So what? Because I'm really lazy. So we get the violins. Just adjusting some mixes on the fly here because nothing's been done yet. Let's just turn that down.
Son lointaine.
So
sortant de derrière un poster, espérant que la vie ne fût aussi.
At this point, there's going to be a key change, and if we look in a second, there we are. then for this we've got yeah, so if you're still awake, thank you for watching. If you're not awake, you wouldn't hear this anyway, so I can say whatever I want. There we are, so there's going to be plenty more videos coming as time goes by, and as soon as I get the full bank of sounds and things that are created on this, we'll pop them up online as well for people to download for their JD-XAs when it hits the shops. I think August sometime, I think. There we are, thank you for watching, and if you're not watching, well, you know, I don't blame you, to be honest with you. Goodbye.